Call it luck, call it God, call it praying to your ancestors, but just made it home, got in the driveway, and the truck just blew up. All my coolant just ran out on the ground. And my bottom hose on my radiator just popped off. No big deal. Just found out what it was. Easy fix. And you know how it is, you get mad, you think about trading it in, you think about what all possibilities that could go wrong, but I just drove an hour to get back here, just parked it in here, sat in the truck, listened to the music for 10 minutes before I got in the house. As soon as I turned it off, it did what it did, but I'm home safe. I can't ask for more than that. Well, if you ever own a big truck, you know you got to try to fight this thing from a couple of different angles. For me to try to get to that bottom radiator hose, I could either take this intake off, take this part of the intake off, try to squeeze my hand through these AC coolant hoses, or try to attack it from the bottom and hope that my metal skid plate's in a way. But what I found out was I just so happened to have turned the truck off with the wheel turned this way, and from the bottom I can see the coolant hose that popped off. Right here. So if I take this wheel well cover off, I should be able to get to the hose with relative ease, and hopefully the clamp is still intact and I can reuse the same clamp. If not, it may be a late night or early morning run to Advanced Auto to get a new hose clamp, if nothing's broken on that on the radiator or the hose itself. So I'm gonna get this liner off. Hopefully I don't mess any of the clips up. I do have a clip pack. I'll try to get everything back where I got it from. Got my plastic clip remover pliers. It's got the little indentation at the tip, but I also got my plastic clip tool and my pry bar for plastic clips. I also got replacement plastic clips, my impact, well, it's the softest impact I got so I don't strip anything out, and I think these are 8mm bolts if I'm not mistaken. We'll see in a second. Yep, 8mm bolts for those. So that should be all I need for now. I shouldn't have to pull the whole thing off, but just in case I do, we'll see. But yeah, this was a horrible time for this to happen. As you can see, I haven't been making any other videos because Deadpool's in the shop, still working on getting a new transmission and torque converter for the race car, and all I have is the work truck, you know. So I need to get this fixed to be up and running, to make it back and forth to work. I say work, but government shutdown, really don't have much work, to make it back and forth to work, to make some money to get those two cars fixed. So got to get this thing running again. I got to do it myself because can't afford to pay nobody else with the shutdown. So I'm not getting much flex with these, even if I take that off. So I think I'm gonna have to take all of these off as well. May as well do it now, save me a headache later. Oh man, definitely not used to working in millimeters. Yeah, 10 mil is the same as a 3/8 for me. I'm not used to working in millimeters. Alright, let's see if I can get this without breaking it. Really hate these. No matter which tool I use, they seem to break. See, these are so much better because they're a two-piece. You open up the first half of it, and then you open the second half second, and then it comes out. So it's like the top half, and then the bottom half. And that one's a little bit easier. But those other ones is just one piece. And that one never likes to come out easy. Yep, it broke off every time. Alright, this is what I mean by having my tire turned the right way. So now I got some clearance to get under here and kind of get to that hose and pin this wheel well back a little bit. Not entirely sure I'm gonna be able to get my hands in there, but we'll see. So there's a hose that just popped off the bottom of the radiator. Looks like the clamp is fine, radiator's fine. Just need to squeeze that clamp, shimmy that hose back on the bottom of that radiator as snug as I can get it, and refill the radiator. It's just a tight space to work in. So wish me luck. Well, the truck won this round. My hose clamp pliers wasn't big enough. Couldn't get the hose clamp on. So going to AutoZone and I'll fix it in the morning. Well, no luck yesterday, so went to AutoZone last night and I got another hose clamp tool. This one is supposed to open wider than the one I have. I hope it does. It kind of looks like the same size, and if it does, then that's going to be a mistake. But you see that this is as wide as this one opens. I'm going to open this one up and see if it goes any wider, because what you're supposed to do is get your clamp inside here, and then you're supposed to be able to squeeze this, close your clamp, well, open your clamp when you squeeze that, put it in place, and then you should be able to release it from here, and it goes where it needs to go. And you can see how long the hose is, or the line is, and get the hose into place and get it to where it needs to go. So hopefully this one opens a little bit wider than that one does. This one said it was from 11/16 to 2.5. When I looked up the one I had, I think it said it was 15/16. So this one should open a little bit wider. So let's get it open, and hopefully it works for what I need it to work for. We can get that hose on there, fill it up with, put all the fluid back in there, and get back on the road. For comparison, doesn't open up very much wider. So I don't know if it's gonna work or not. We'll see. Okay, that one was just wide enough to snap into place and get onto the clamp. So I was able to squeeze it and open it up and shimmy the tube onto the hose and get that bottom hose onto the radiator. So now I'm gonna check it to see if it's flush, see if it's level on the top and the bottom and it's over the lip before I say that it's mounted completely, because I don't want it to pop off again, because I think that's what it is, because there's two lines on the radiator side of the mount that you have to get over, and I don't think that whoever put this on before got it over both lines. So I'm going to double check to make sure before I call it good that it's on completely, and that I double and triple check it before I pull that clamp hose off, that clamp plier off, and say that it's good, and I fill this thing up and I'm not on the side of the road and all the fluid drains out again. So let me double and triple check it before we call it good. Shout out to AutoZone for being open late on Columbus Day. I went there about 8:30. They closed at 9. I had a $20 off coupon plus the 10% military discount, and that's what I got. So it works for the radiator on my Dodge Ram 2022 Cummins diesel. So let me get at it. All right, I got most of it done. Beauty about this thing is once you get it to a certain point, it locks, and it locks that in closed to a point. So once you get it closed, it keeps it in place. Took my pry bar over there, clamp over the lip. There's two lines to get it over the lip. I got it over the first lip. I'm trying to get it centered now. Once I get it centered, I should be fine. It's a pain. Once I get it centered on that second line, or between those two lines, I should be fine. I'm gonna tug on it just to make sure it's good, and that should be good to pop that hose clamp off, put fluid in, turn it on, make sure it doesn't leak. She should be good to go. Another thing I got to be careful of with this pry bar is, of course, poking a hole in that coolant line, because then I'm gonna have to replace it on the engine side, and definitely don't want to do that. So got to be careful with this thing. All right, got the coolant line in place. Now it's time to pop all of this off to see what my radiator looks like, to see if I need to top off the coolant from the radiator or top it off from the overflow. I haven't done it in Mopars before. I'm GM trained, so I never had to top it off of my Challenger before. So let's see how this turbo diesel looks. Well, everything online is telling me to fill it up from the reservoir, so I'll fill it up from the reservoir like I do with my Challenger, which is easy. Reservoir is right here, so I just need a funnel. No need to take anything else off, which should make this a lot quicker. So this might be a perfect time to use these things I bought off the internet. This is a funnel that attaches to the bottle with a neck on them that flexes to get in awkward position. So I can stretch this out and angle it to get in bad spots, because the way my reservoir is in a bad spot. Plus, if I'm holding the bottle up, the bottle is tall like these and my hood is in the way, it might help me get in some weird positions. So we'll see how that works. Normally what I do, I have the AutoZone app, and you put in your year, make, and model vehicle, and it'll tell you what oil filter, what oil, what coolant is right for your vehicle. And normally I go with the Mopar brand, but if they don't have the Mopar brand, it'll give you the next best thing. So this is what it recommends for my vehicle for coolant. I guess the first step is to put some coolant in there and see if any of it goes straight to the ground. All Alright, let's see how good this funnel works. Not too bad. I don't see any on the ground so far either. This truck takes 5.5 cords. I got 6 just to be on the safe side. But so far, funnel works great. No leaks. I misspoke earlier. I meant this thing takes 5.5 gallons of coolant. So I got 6 gallons to be on the safe side. 5.7 gallons is what it took. So I got 6, maybe 7 to be on the safe side because of how much it wasted and just in case something happens. But that's 3 down, 2.7 to go. Plus side is the funnel's working great. Clamps holding. Clean my camera off. Clamps holding. No leaks so far. I'll start it here in a minute before I button up the wheel weld. And I had to use this clamp pliers to get the clamp on and then use the smaller one to clamp it even wider to slide it over the lip because that one didn't close enough to open the clamp hose wider to slide it over the lip. So I had to use both sets actually to get the clamp to go over the lip to open the clamp wider. So if that makes sense, both of them actually came in handy. So it's better to have multiple sizes of clamp pliers handy for radiator hoses. Note to self, up your tool selection. Note to self, straighten out the that crinkle hose before you pull a funnel out because you'll make a little bit of a mess because it kind of retains some of the fluid. But filled it up to the fill line. Fill lines are kind of on the back. Kind of hard to see when it's where the fill line is, but that's topped off. I'll let it sit for a little while just to make sure that it's settled and it doesn't trickle down anymore into the lines, into the radiator, to make sure it's happy before I start it. And it's either going to be good or I'm going to flood the driveway in the neighborhood with fluid again. So we'll see what happens. All right, time to start it up and see if it leaks. probably should have just auto started it, but so far so good. I'm gonna let it heat up a little bit, pressurize. See the fan going in the back. So far so good. Coolant level dropped a little bit. It means it's circulating. So this is good. We'll call it a win so far. Appreciate y'all, man. This back together. Do the oil change next. Already seen the video on that, so don't need to hang around any longer. We'll call it a win. Back on the road. Been running now for 5 minutes. No leaks. Clamp is holding, hose is holding. Back in action, baby. Appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe. If you want any tips and I can help, let me know, man. Appreciate it.